Hi, and welcome to the Holistic Hub with Marie and Martine, a welcoming, nurturing, and soul supporting environment of all things spiritual, energy, and alternative. Our intention is to freely and lovingly share the personal truths, stories, or wisdoms we've gained, hopefully offering any guidance, new perspective, or light bulb moment that you may wish to take away to assist you through your navigation of the journey out of 3D, through 4D, and toward 5D and beyond. Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the Holistic Hub episode 20. Martine and I have got our bums into gear this week and have gone back to back. Hi, Martine. How you going?
Hey, Marie.
We just had our usual, hi, well, what are we going to talk about today? I don't know. And as usual, we just start the chat, that what this is about, and then things start to come, and then Martine added her bit, then I sort of said my bit. Well, here we are. So this is the topic that we feel we're going to kind of navigate, but, you know, we could go anywhere. That's just the way it is. So what we were sort of mentioning, and the feeling that I had, was kind of a little bit of a follow-on, I suppose, from episode 19, in that it's about our timelines, it's about our conscious awareness, and it's about the energies right now. As you know, they're not going to be letting up, like we keep saying. They are really pouring in through the planet, through us, and we are really being pushed uniquely and individually through and into our energetic stuff, that it's the real shift in us to decide, are we walking our talk? Are we really saying what we mean and meaning what we say? And are we being prepared to do the inner work, to do what's required, or what our soul and higher self are calling us toward to look at and do? Or are we still being, you know, still in that path of resistance where, be it conscious or unconscious, where we're still pushing away the potential walks that our soul is steering us toward, and where those layers of fear are that are permeating, bleeding, and dripping through our creations, that are then causing symptomology or causing issues that we may not like or want. But again, they're happening because ultimately we're not in the full alignment, or potentially not necessarily walking the talk, the words that we think we know and do. But there's that slight imbalance, because if symptomology or stuff appears in your world, it's not that you're doing anything wrong. It's just that you have created the opportunity for the next awakening. So if, you know, for my way of thought of thinking is that if you're doing the energy work within yourself, and we've always said this, energy first, physical second, that's just truth now. And we have to kind of get that into here somewhere and into here. But if we're doing our work as best we can, that's all you're asked to do, then you're moving forward to be aware of the shifts or the alerts that are coming in your body, to address them as need be. Or things may be presenting before you that, again, are you being willing to look at that with an open, graceful, loving heart? Or are you all shying away? Because it's more the shying away that I think we'd like to address today, because that's what will then just go out like a boomerang, that you push away, and then incoming. And you'll have something present for you that, again, isn't the universe doing this to you. You're creating it just for that moment of expansion. Yeah? Thoughts?
Yeah. You know, I think what would be really helpful to discuss today is, again, how to align with what that truth is in that moment. Because, again, we talk about layers of understanding that when something's happening around you, well, what is that decision? And where do you come from, and how do you respond to that? And it's not always black and white to begin with. Sometimes it takes you a little bit of a journey to get there. I'm quite well known to not do anything until I feel like I know in my heart that that's what feels right. And sometimes I'm picking it apart for a few days. I receive something, I take it in, And then I'm spending, like, initially I'm like, something doesn't feel right about that. So it doesn't feel right for me to respond to that straight away. And then I'm taking however long it takes for me to sort of pull apart, well, what is it that's not feeling right? And usually the closer the relationship that I have with that person, meaning in more of an intimate friendship or obviously family dynamics, then sometimes it takes me a little bit more or a bit longer to pull out. Whereas other times, you know, like I had a client connect with me about the chakra immersion the other day, and she pulled out of the chakra immersion. She's like, I can't. It's like, you know, I just can't afford it at the moment. And you know, I could see all the energy layers filtered through that. And it didn't take me 5 seconds to respond to that because I wasn't reacting to it from any other place other than love. But I literally responded like this: no worries, you do whatever feels right for you, but I'm here if you want to unpack any of that around, you know, because the theme of our immersion this year is the base chakra and the third eye. It, you know, that's what's come up. So I've got 14 souls that have come into it, and they're all in base chakra existential crisis right now. And I've had so many texts.
A lot of people are.
Why did I sign up so soon? Or like, because we're still a month out from starting. But it's like, I feel like this is glorious because, you know, this is partly the reason why I'm so in love with the chakra immersion, is because it's this proactive way of connecting with what's actually still within you that you still walk the earth with. And I had another one of my friends connect with me. I had popped a question onto her last night. I said to her, what are your 3 goals? I hadn't connected with this friend in a while. And I said, just how are you going? Like, how's 2023 going for you? What are your goals this year? And she replied back what her goals, and then threw that question back to me. And I was like, oh, what have been my goals? And, you know, what came out again was this whole theme of how do I live even more authentically in what my truth is? How do I align in any given moment to the moment and create even more right nowness, if that's the way that I've put it. And that's what my goal is this year, is ultimately to align to the now. And that is my way of connecting with what feels like it's the truth in any situation, so that I'm not going to do what Marie says, which is come full boomerang, so that, or this way, come full boomerang, so it comes back to kind of hit me again. But again, no judgment. If it does come and hit me again, like, you know, I'm allowed a process, I'm allowed a journey, and that is okay too. So there's lots of things that, you know, are going on at the moment. We've been energetically talked to about the crescendo and the greatness that March is going to bring this year. And, you know, naturally we are in that momentum right now. So again, every time that we connect with you guys, we're like, oh, it's, you know, it's getting bigger and bigger. But as Marie said, it's going to continue to propel. And, you know, like this whole topic is, this is where we're really seeing the shift in consciousness, but also, you know, around me, what I'm seeing I'm still seeing the collective, without judgment, collective people still journeying through it, through the need to do things physically or the need to go through massive journeys. And then the ones who are choosing proactively to align to what they are, what's their center in that moment, you know, less struggle, obviously. And that divide for me is getting, you know, bigger and bigger.
Well, I think this is where I kind of want to bring in, and I mean, you know, I don't expect everybody to understand this, but I know how spirit works through me, has always worked through me. It's through my words, and it's planting seeds, and it's concepts of energy. So again, you'll be absorbing what you want, what you're ready for. Your soul will take what it wants and leave what it doesn't want. And that's how it should be. So as I said to Martine earlier, you know, the thing here, what you're just describing and what I'd like to just introduce again, is that this is where the timelines, this is the whole timeline experience, okay? And I think I said earlier in some hub, timeline is simply a moment of experience. So every time we get together, it's a timeline. Anytime I meet with someone else, there's another timeline. You know, it's another timeline. These are just energetic frequencies of that moment that we are creating. And then we've got all these different timelines uniquely to us. But the earth itself is now shifting in her timeline. Okay, so right now, and what we have to get our heads around again, which may or may not help you, but if you think of just yourself and me and you, we are in an absolute universe, multiverse, cosmic verse, where we have consciousness first. We are consciousness. That's all we are. We're not the physical. Okay, this is where we're really moving out of this understanding that we're physical to grapple with this. We're consciousness. So our consciousness is everything. So we've created this earth plane. We've chosen to come and have a creation with the earth mother to experience the earth plane. But at the same time, because we know now that we're frequency and vibration and energy, we have a range of frequencies, and we know when we're up, we know when we're down, we know when we're going up and down this spiral. But we're so vastly great. As I said, we're not just who we are. We now know we're the physical, we're the soul, we're the the higher self, we're the I am, we're the monad, and we're beyond that. Okay, so all these parts of us exist in this greater picture of energy, so to speak. So all these parts of us, if you think of it, are in existence right now, in this moment of now, in a whole range of vibrations. Anything beyond 3D, we exist within. We've got all these difference in vibrations and different timelines that we are part of now. Okay, but to bring it down a little bit more to where we are, we can experience, according to the energy, the vibration, how good we feel, we can rise into an energy space where we're experiencing this incredible energy, where we feel really good. We've all been there and done that. And we just see everything so differently when we're feeling good. Everything looks different. The world, things don't enter our world. You know, the darkness and the heaviness doesn't enter. When we're feeling good, it's like there's this block around us that we only see good and we feel good until we shift the vibration into another vibrational reality. Okay, so here we can easily move between realities that we've not consciously thought of that. We've just thought, oh, I feel, let's do a really extreme example. I feel really great. I feel depressed. So both those realities are actually potentials of energy in our being right now. They're all present. The energy, the vibration, the frequencies are there, but it's our thoughts, it's our choice as to which we go into experience. So it's not like when, you know, I was only saying to my daughter, she was a great example this week where she's had this big surge of energy. And she said to me, you know, Mum, truthfully, and this was her fear, this is where we've got to be honest to fear what we're creating. Is this really a shift of energy for me that's going to be better? Is this the light that's making me feel like this, or have I gone back down? And I said, no, it's the shift, and explained to her again about the energy coming in, the purge, the uplifting of all the old stuff that we can't take with us, that has to be conscious that we have to release or transmute or transform, whatever you want to call it. So she's had to work through that, but we're all doing this. So we have the ability at any time to change this timeline, and then there are many more. So right now we've got a whole range of parallel universes, a whole range of dimensional frequencies that we can move in between. Okay, anytime we want, we can do that. But we've collectively and at our soul level have said, right, well, this version is what we want to experience. This is what we've got to now do, because we're here to release and really get to know our shadow, because where we're going, the shadow cannot come. So we can't move. We're holding on to fears, doubts, insecurities, judgments, less than, shame, guilt, blah, blah. Anything that's not love and joy is on the table now. And that table can be really full, or it might be a bit sparse, depending where our vibration is on the day. So this is where we pull out a judgment or labeling of good, bad, this, that, disease, not, feeling, not. It's just, how am I now? This is where, as Martine said, the now is your everything. Yesterday's over, tomorrow hasn't come. The next minute's not here yet. How we are now creates that. And this is where we become the creator. So we have to really, to move forward, to experience the best that we can, we've got to be honest. Simply honest to us. And this isn't like a heavy duty thing. It can just be easy. You wake up and say to yourself, you know, oh, well, I'm going to do this. And it could go back to your immersion course. Yes, I'm going to do that. But if there's a part of you that you know is going, oh, but what if, oh God, I haven't got the money. Oh my God, what's that mean for me? And you're putting on a show for Martine or for whoever it might be, you're not in balance. You're not honoring you. It's not about Martine in the moment. It's about you. So that moment will come back like the boomerang because you're not really believing in what you're saying and doing. There's fear attached. And that's okay, I want to say. But the journey is recognizing and honoring the fear that you're feeling, the truth of that moment, so that you can sit with that, work with that, and ultimately, hopefully shift that to take you into the higher vibration where the new reality won't have the fear. So you have a very different outcome and a whole new, brand new reality that's much better, serves you much better. And what you thought that was disappears because you've recognized it and you've changed the vibration to it. Now, yes, you may dip down again. That's okay. You know, we're not here to judge ourselves, but again, it's the awareness. It's the willing to be honest to the self. This is, for me, all about the listening, what I always call the listening. You've got to be listening to you and be honest to you. And if we're not doing that to us, then it's going to be a bit of a tricky journey from here on in, because the universe just isn't listening to our mistruths, our lies to us. We can't fool the universe, let's face it. You can't fool your heart. And no one's going to judge you. There is no judgment by you. And once we kind of get a handle on that, then things lighten up around us a little, because you're the only one ultimately that's judging you or in fear of you in whatever course of action you may take. But I can truthfully, honestly tell you, as someone, and I don't say this lightly, as someone who has walked for half of their life in absolute, over half of their life to this date, so over into my 30s, absolutely steeped in fear, I can tell you that the truth sets you free. You know, I have walked in the shoes of fear. So anyone that's sitting out there going, oh, well, that's all great. You're not in my shoes. Yeah, to some level, I know your shoes, which is why I do the work I do, because I sit there and go, I understand. You know, and it's not a comparison thing, because that's ego. It's to say I've walked in them in a similar way, but different, but I really know how that fear feels. And I also know the courage and the skills and the information and the assistance that I needed to help me get through that. But again, all those external people, thoughts, words, groups, whatever, were great, but they didn't take me across the line. I had to jump. And in the jump, I discovered. I found what the wisdom was for me. I found how that worked for me. I took from that what I could do that was different to whoever was telling me their stuff. That's great, thank you. But I had to find my stuff that I could hold on to dearly to give me the faith and trust again in me to shift and create the world that I wanted to do and be. And that is still continuing, I can tell you. It never stops. It just keeps refining, changing. As I gain more wisdom, I take bigger steps. I've had to take mighty steps. But that's my soul's journey. And we're all on differing paths. But at the end of the day, the unique denominator for us all is we have to take the leaps. And to do that, we have to come back to here. We have to be truthful to us. And it's not pleasant at times. Oh, God, I know what I found and thought, oh, oh, that's not me. Yes, it was. Oh, really? Yes, it is. You have to be honest to that because, again, I can tell you now, everybody out there, no one cares and no one is knowing about what you're doing because they've got their own stuff and they're just the co-players around you to help you move through, just to help you gain the awareness of you. And once you do the stuff, everything about them, what you thought was, it disappears straight away anyway, because you've just shifted the reality, you've shifted the vibration, so everything changes around you. I don't know if that makes sense. I hope
Always
it
makes
does.
sense, Marie. And you know, the part that I wanted to add there is like with your daughter, for example, the things that are happening for her right now are not new things. They're
Mm,
things that she's experienced before, which is why she's like, am I reverting back, or is this,
yeah.
you know, and but yet she's been working on herself at such a level that what she used to experience in regular peaks, she's now really like gradually she's then not getting as many peaks.
Yeah.
And then she hasn't had one for a while. So she's like, what is happening? What have I done wrong?
Yeah.
But, you know, remember that that this is why I liken our, whatever you call them, the true weaknesses in our being as they are repetitive,
Mm,
repetitive and redundant. So, you know, like for years, I said this to myself, I had a snowboarding injury where I got knocked out in Canada. I was like a week into going to Canada when I was like 19, right? So I get knocked out by this Swedish snowboarding guy. I go down to the lifty. I'm like, hey, just came to, don't know where I am. And he's like, what do you mean? And I'm like, I really do not know where I am. He's like, you're in Canada, mate. I'm like, what? And I was like, oh. And I kind of just had a moment to gather my thoughts. I'm like, I'm in Canada. And who am I with? And then I was like, you're here by yourself. I'm like, I'm here by myself. But the whole moral of this story is that it whacked my neck out, you know, for a couple of years. I was living in New Zealand at the time. And I remember going to the chiropractor and him going, wow, what did you do to your neck? I'm like, oh, could be that snowboarding injury. So this neck thing would happen whenever I was feeling stuck or feeling limited. I would get this neck thing back where it would like I just feel like I'd be like walking around like this, right? And again, we're looking at another layer of most likely around the throat chakra, how I'm holding myself up. There were like loaded things in there that I could go to town on. And the throat chakra has been, you know, in the past, it's been one of my massive journeys. Like I grew up getting tonsillitis pretty much every month of my life and living off antibiotics. So you can imagine the throat chakra journeys I've been on. But the neck thing, like it will happen literally once every blue moon and it won't stick for very long. I don't even need to go to the osteopath anymore to move it. I know what's going on when it comes up. I know what to do. I know what to look at. And it's not, you know, yes, I'm going to do some yoga. I'm going to do some stretches, but it's all what I need to do from this place that counts. It's identifying what I haven't been actively looking at or what I've been ignoring or something along those lines that it comes up for. So, you know, it's about recognizing that the lucky thing is that a lot of your things are going to be on repeat. So, you know, it's about recognizing that. And we were at like a secondhand bookshop and I said to my daughter, you can get a book. This was a few weeks ago. And she chose like a condensed version of the Louise L. Hay book, You Can Heal Your Life. So she chose the ones where, you know, you pick out all of the physical things. So she has it in her book. I didn't know this, but she has this and another little book in her school bag permanently.
Oh.
And yesterday, one of the mums rocked up and was telling her about what had happened to her son. And she's really good friends with her son. And he'd hurt himself. And Isla was like, just stay there. And she goes, Mum, I just went over and I got the book. And I said, just give this to him. He can borrow it for a few days. And just,
Oh, that's so sweet. Oh, God, I love it.
I was like, yeah. So I feel like, you know, it's about recognizing just what what these repetitive ones are and making them redundant in your life somehow. And often I do that again through leverage, you know, like when I had a client in the clinic yesterday. I'll pass back to you in a sec, Marie.
No, you're
I'll
right.
just finish off on this. I had a client in the clinic yesterday, and he was talking about, you know, yeah, I don't have the need for this so much anymore. And it was a positive change that he was making, but because he balanced other things out in his life, he didn't have the need. And so we went and explored why he didn't have the need for it anymore. And it came down to, you know, it came down to things like finances, and it came down to other fear-based things. So then I just went in there and called him on that. And he was reminded again why he was working towards, you know, this particular outcome, which is from love, which is from light. But yet along the journey, you clear, and then boom, in comes another little layer that's going to be a little trickster and pretend that it comes all with, you know, grace and great awareness. But the fact is, it's just another layer of that fear coming in disguise.
Well, that's ultimately what we're just all doing, is just learning how, I guess, your moments of the you know, remembering or the what's coming up is simply the moment just to recognize where ego is, to recognize where the part of you that's not in balance is coming forward for you to have a little play with and to get to know a little better and to just rise above anything that's still steeped in fear. But it's funny, you know, in a different way. There's a couple of stories that were flashing in, but you know, not going to go into them too far. But for years and years now, and a lot of people don't know it, and it's hard to show, I won't show because you won't see it, but on my right shoulder, I've had this mole, and it's since Coffs Harbour days, and I can't think which year it started. So I've been up here 5 years, so it's at least between 5 to 10 years old. It started off just as this mole on my shoulder, or this funny looking thing that, again, I just don't buy into this stuff because I've learned, you know, not to. And, you know, I honor the little layers that come, but I know my first impression is, okay, it's coming. That's how I talk to myself. Okay, it's happening for a reason, what it's about. Just let it do its thing. Listen, that's me. So this thing first was coming up for me. I think my husband saw it going, what's that? And because he's still very physical, he's the great mirror for me to test me. Was like, what's that? You know, get that checked. No, it's okay. No, you should get it checked. So it's like when I had a lumpy years ago, same deal. I manifest these things, create these things, not just for me, but for others around me. Okay, keep that in mind too. You know, we're playing the co-creator role here. So I know when I bring these things up, it's about me, but it's also I'm seeing fear in others and their reactions to whatever it is that I'm creating. So I always found that interesting, going, right, well, I can let that go, and let that go, and just deal with me. That's their stuff. And so this thing eventually got bigger and bigger and bigger, and it was really ugly. It wasn't attractive at all. And even years ago, my chiropractor said to me, oh, have you noticed this thing on your shoulder? And I said, yeah, I have. And I said, oh, what are you saying? And he said, I just think it's nothing to worry about. And I said, no, I'm not worried about it at all. And then again, my husband, my family, oh, yeah, my girls, oh, mum, what's that? You know, and because it sits under my bra, so a lot of people don't see it in summer or whatever, or cozies or whatever, I have straps that sit over it. Anyway, cut to the chase. So it's got to the point, it was really quite large, it was quite big, and, you know, Buggerlugs is here going, oh, you need to get rid of that. And I've just gone, yeah, okay, I just don't create there anymore. Haven't for a long time. Yep, that's you. See you later. But I sat with it and just again felt, and I was looking at it going, you know what? It's time for you to go. Now, in the past, when I've had to let this big lump that was really big that sat on my chest here, I had to physically go through the journey of having that physically removed. And many of us do. Some of us have to go through the physicality, through the mainstream of surgical procedures or whatever, because again, we might be at that level where we're not fully ready to consciously transmute that and to release that, okay? But we can. So we do the journey. We release the energies when we get opened up, okay? That's what you're doing. When my lump went, I was on the table and they said to me, would you like to do this under full anesthetic, like, you know, knock you out sedation-wise, or would you like to be awake? And I said, I'd like to be awake. So that lump taught me as I'm underawake. I wish I'd had a video at the time because it would have been hilarious. I'm awake and they had this thing over the top of my head. I could feel the pressure, but when the lump was open, I didn't care what they were doing. I could hear them. What I was shown, I showed me, was we have elementals. We have an elemental body, which is our creator body. So out of my lump, all I'm seeing is these little sort of weird looking ugly gnomes, brown, murky, bleh, that were jumping out of my wound. And I'm watching this show thinking, wow. And I'm saying, no more now. We're not miscreating. We're not having anything negative to create anymore. You can go back to where you've come from with the second and the first dimension. Thanks. See you later. This game's done with you. I'm not joking. When the last one jumped out and looked at me in the face, eye to eye, and I said, off you go. Thank you. We're done. As soon as it left, the surgeon said, right, that's it. We're finished. I just laughed. I was laughing on the table because I thought that was hilarious, thinking, wow, what a journey, you know? And in this one, it's the next step up, okay? Because we're always being asked to rise further into faith and trust in us. Mm-hmm. So I looked at this and went in that same feeling time, right, it's time for you to leave now. Whatever you've been there for, you've done the job, it's over. And most of it's not about me, it's about other people. Mm-hmm. So I thought, okay, I'm going to now step up my trust and abilities in me and test myself again. That's just what I do. I use that word. But I'm going to manifest you away. We're going to now heal the cells. We're going to heal from deep within. I'm going to lift you off and I'm going to let you go. And I said this to my husband, said, this is going to go now. Oh, are you getting it cut off? No. What do you mean? I said, I'm going to manifest that gone. Oh, you say some silly things. Yeah, I do. So anyway, I did. I've been working at it, talking to it, speaking to it, letting it know it's done now. It's finished. The game's over. This energy is not required anymore. You can leave as you're ready. I'll work with you. I'm not going to rip you off. I'm just going to say it's time. As I was impulsed, I go into the cells. I'd just speed the cells up. I'd see it healed. I'd use my vision. I'd use my imagination. I'd picture how I wanted it to look. And then all of a sudden, it just started to change. And it's been probably about a process of, I don't know, months, not a year. It's only been months. And I've got the tiniest scab left of the last bit. And I've always let it be where it's not wanted to leave. I've let it be. I've not forced anything. And it's this last little bit that's still staying there. And I can feel that part that's not ready. I've said, okay, you stay as long as you need, but it's so tiny now. But the rest is gone and I've got this beautifully pink healed space underneath it and I've lifted off what many may have thought, oh, you've got a skin cancer. It's done. Am I anything in particularly wonderful or fantastic? No. It's about my belief. It's about the energy of knowing what I know, knowing that I'm stepping out what I've ever been taught. And I was a nurse. Hey, I was a nurse. I was clinical. You know, I was all about the hospital's procedures and getting to it. But we have the ability, we can create a new reality anytime we want. We're not stuck or limited by anything unless we believe it to be so. This is the journey. This is the new timeline. So I've created a new timeline, a new storyline for me that's now said, that's done. What was that about? Mm-hmm. Truthfully, other people, yeah, me, not sure. I'm sure. I only said to myself the other day, there must be a portal. There must be a portal in my shoulder here. There must be something. It's my masculine. Something that was stuck in this area of my shoulder, still heart chakra, sort of in between throat to heart here, probably a bit of, you know, throat more than heart. But this was the energy I worked on as well. Looked at the location of where that symptom was and worked on those chakras as well. But then raised the frequencies, watched my thinking to that, really believed in what I was doing and allowed the time, didn't make it happen, but just went for the journey with it to see what would transpire. That's all this is about. There's no rush for anything. There's no nothing. It's about what are you thinking? What are you feeling that's in deep discerning within you? And when you think that's impossible, I always say, who said? Who told you things are impossible? Who told you anything's the way it is? Who said you have to walk this journey? That's the outcome you have to experience. If you believe it, that's what you will see. But equally available is another alternate reality, another alternative level of consciousness that you can experience if you choose to try.
Yeah. And I work with a lot of families who maybe after their first child, or they've become a little bit more discerning of certain information, and say we're talking about the schedule, they may have utilized the schedule on their first child and then become consciously like discerning on like when they have more children or along the way for some other reason. And then they'll talk to me about this massive guilt or this massive, like, well, now what's he going to turn out like? How have I broken him, And again, it's really pulling back from that. This is your journey up until this point in time. Nothing is irreversible in my eyes. Yeah. Everything has the ability to be shifted back to light. It's just that if you're viewing it from that fear, then you're obviously viewing it from that there is only sort of one each way to do it. So if I'm doing, say, those schedule reversals in the clinic, I'm not just going, oh, cool. All right, well, we'll just reverse that out. No, I'm working constitutionally with that child. I may use that nosode if that nosode comes in. And likewise with all of the last 2 years of those ones, I've got a lot of clients that are coming in or during it, like, I'm not sure about this. I don't know if I want this, or post it. I didn't really want that. What can I do about it? Again, it's not that I'm sitting here and going, oh, well, we'll just fix that by doing this. I'll just reverse it out. Cool. It's about like going on the journey together around what their fears are around that, around what we're going to be looking at from multiple layers. And it's not going to be an overnight oats journey with that. It will be, as again, at some point, I may feel like, yes, we'll go in there and do the reversal, just like I would with Ross River virus or glandular fever or whatnot. Someone comes in and there's glandular fever in their history. I'm not sitting here going, oh, when can I use the glandular fever reversal? No, I'm like, if it pops up, it pops up. And that's when I'll go in and use it, because that's what is aligned in that particular moment. But there's usually work to get there. There's usually some kind of leveling up of consciousness around that. So again, it just simply comes back down to where we're aligning with fear, where we're aligning with love.
Yeah. What are we listening to? What are we feeling? It all comes back to that feeling within. Are we honoring the true heart feeling, that internal radar, that incredible internal intelligence that we have that keeps us on track? Or are we shooting up to our head via fear, unconsciously, not even knowing it's fear, with confusion, doubt, chaos, judgment, shame, guilt, whatever those words are around it, they are all under the umbrella called fear, the vibration that fear is. Okay, remember, it's a vibration, less than love. So again, here's just another presentation moment for us to get to know what vibration of fear and the layers of that are in existence within us. That's what it's about, And again, this reverts back to the last episode, the hub of, again, what's highest good. Because highest good allows you to walk the journey, and it might not look pretty and rosy and what you think, oh, well, highest good, it's done, it's fixed, and it's better, and it's great. No, highest good is presenting the opportunities for the expansion of consciousness, presenting the moments for you to gain more wisdom and faith and trust about you, to take you into the next layers of consciousness, which give you a different alternative creation and reality. So we're so amazing as souls. We know we've got this. We know we can do it. And at the highest level of who we are, this doesn't even exist. We're perfect. We're beautiful. We're amazing souls and light and beings of light at the highest level. This is just this thread in 3D. We are the tiniest of thread. And I've taught this in my ego groups, and it's a really coarse analogy. But think of yourself like a big, big ball of wool. And how a ball of wool's got all these lines that cross and weave, and they make up this big ball of wool as they're being wound and wound and wound and wound and wound and wound, cross. Think of those as like your timelines, okay? All these things that exist in this ball of wool, but this whole ball of wool is like you. You're all these layers, all these multiple layers and dimensions. And all of a sudden, you've got this thread that comes out for you that you might knit with. But just think of that thread that comes down as the end point, This is just the fraction of who you are as the soul that chose to descend from all that you are into this 3D game called Earth. Okay, so at that level, that thread that's got, again, layers of the thread. If you look at a piece of wool, it's got layers within the thread, okay? Like a chord on a piano, it's got vibrations within the note. So the same, you've got lots of things within that thread that's still you. But you're here creating with those, okay? Just like a ball of wool creates. But what we're doing now is we're lifting the thread back. The thread is now returning up. It's going up back towards the ball of wool. We're leaving the 3D. So the thread at the moment is now moving out of 3D into whatever aspect of 4D you were in, and we are all on varying aspects. And we're only all on varying aspects by the level of consciousness that we have attained through our choice to graduate out of fear. That's the journey, if that makes sense.
Yeah, total sense. You know what just flashed in, Marie, is like, to finish off today, let's maybe invoke like a bush flower. I know that you love to work with the bush flowers. I'll hand this over to you to discern which one today, but what's the bush flower for the theme of today and to assist us to the next episode? And we can all just bring it in.
Okay. Okay. I have to just sit for a minute and tune. So you have a chat amongst yourself, Martine, for a sec, because I wasn't expecting this. So I have to just feel my way into this and just see what comes. So have a little chat about whatever. Maybe if you just chat about watch where we're placing our energies.
Oh, okay.
And I'll just feel here.
Yes. I was
tuning out for a minute.
So she wants me to focus on where should we place our energies. Look, I'll have to go on my own tangent there. This morning when I'm sitting on the hammock having my cup of tea and journaling, I see 4 birds. I think they were lorikeets, and they were in synchronicity, like one at the front, one at the back, and 2 equally at the side. And don't you just marvel at the simplicity that they're able to telepathically communicate with each other? They're all
get a pen. Sorry, I'm getting a pen.
Utilizing their wings in the same manner, and they're all just flying in the direction that they know that they need to go. It's the synchronicity that is something of awareness that I want to bring in with that. So again, if we're looking at it from a homeopathic perspective, we have themes in homeopathy. So we've got, we'll break things into themes. What are the themes of the mammals? What are the themes of certain particular plants? Like if we're talking about the orchids, they have their own theme. If we're talking about the succulents, they have their own theme. If we're talking about, the types of minerals, each mineral within each layer of the periodic table is going to have its own theme. And when we prescribe on that, we're prescribing on an alignment or an over like energetic magnet towards that particular thing that's needing to be sort of. So again, what can you do to more align to the synchronicity of what your own beat of the drum is? And again, remember that this is going to be different to other people. Going to be sometimes making you feel like you're on your own little journey, and that's okay too. How you going there, Marie? You got it?
Yeah, I've just been writing some stuff because I have to just sometimes write, so sorry for jumping up and leaving. So I'm all about bushflowers. Martine knows that's me. Crystal essences and bushflowers are what I do. And I often prescribe, I've never done any courses. I haven't done Ian White's course. I just do what I feel. That's just me. So I know he has got, like, I think he says maybe 5 max in bottles, but I just, again, go with whatever I want of the bushflowers. So today I've kind of got what I'm feeling. I've just had a real deja vu here too. Well, I just looked at my words and went, I've had deja vu. Okay, so the first one I would put in, and I tend to do these as a base for my remedies anyway, is angel sword. I love putting in an angel sword first because that is one of the essences that connects us straight away to our higher self. It takes us straight into alignment of the higher energies that we are. So we want to always connect in that so that we're receiving that which is in our highest good. Okay. The next thing, which is always the base for me, no matter what, is fringe violet. So
Yeah.
that is the violet flame. That is your, again, that transmutational frequency that lifts you just straight away from with the love out of that lower frequency into a high frequency. So they're my two cores. They go into every bottle I ever make, regardless. The next one that I felt for today, and we're talking about leaving old stuff behind, old patterns, is Boab. Now, Boab can be a bit of a in your face at times, in your body, wake up remedy. But Boab for me is when I really want to work with the enmeshments, the old stuff, the old thinking, the old lineage, the old patterns that are ready for the shift off. So I always throw the Boab in, and I know it's going to bring stuff up for those that I work with, but I counter that as well. So I know I've got the angel sword and I've got the fringe violet in there. So they're a really nice balance for what's coming out. The next thing I'd put in today would be she oak, because she oak's all about feminine balance, coming back into your feminine, bringing that energy back into that divine energy goddess again, working with the angel sword to bring you back to here, into her wisdom, into that graciousness, out of here, which Boab will stir up, but she counters that again and brings that gentleness in to just center you, to bring it back into that truthful clarity of what the next step, what that next thing, moment is for you to walk through. And the other thing that came through was, I'd have to sit with it if I add it in, is whether it's a red grevillea or a red frangipani. But I felt like there might be that aspect in there too, but I've just got that as in a bracket at the moment. So we'll just leave that out there. If I was making it up, I'd have to sit with it a bit longer. The other thing I always love to put into, not all, but most, is I usually put in sundew, because it brings in the sun. You're bringing in that energy of the sun again, which is a bit of the masculine, into positive action, positive thoughts, positive movement forward. So it blends with she oak, I think, really nicely in bringing in that energy of, again, harmonizing and balance. So that's kind of probably what I'd set up for today.
Yeah, well, how I was envisioning it, and you can discern, is you can obviously either get a bottle off Ree, but I just wrote them all down. Back to front. Did that come back to front?
What was your last
Not
one? I
back to
didn't see
front.
the last one.
It's not back to front in my world.
No, it wasn't. I could read that. I couldn't see the bottom one. Oh, there you go. How fun is that? Well, no.
Is it back to front?
No, it's perfect.
No, it's perfect.
I read it.
So you can either then sit them underneath your water,
Yeah,
like this, or, you know, as she was saying them, I was also just putting them in my water as I drink. But also just like going and learning about those. But for me, just when Marie was talking, what I was doing was infusing those into me. And then that energy has its own energy of its own. So over the course of every day, so at the moment I'm practicing a little kinesiology tip from a friend of mine, Erin, at the moment, that I'm doing every day as an experiment, and she's told me to do it between the hours of 5 and 7. And then I'm going to be I'll decide, you know, when I feel like I'll reignite this one as well, and I will literally just close down my eyes, remember that feeling, and bring it in one more time. So it's like another dose. And this is often how I prescribe when, you know, if I've got someone in a remote area of the world or someone who's not close to a dispensary, we will quite often work this way as well, where we'll, you know, I might even make my little radionics box. This is my radionics box. So I'll make it on that radionics box, and I get them to envision it like almost like these little sparkles coming towards them. And then I almost like, I'm in there closing my eyes and going, okay, it's coming, it's coming. And how I envision it is they go, oh, and they like receive it.
It's so dramatic.
I know. And I'm like, where did you receive it? Did you get it in your shoulder? Where did you get it?
Received.
Yeah. I've got no idea where Isla gets any of her drama from, really.
No. But it's really good you said that too, because I think it's nice in that whole how we can create and how powerful in that creatorship we are, like with that water aspect, because I mentioned this to Martine a long time ago, who I've been using it for a long time, that water has the capacity of memory. It is this incredible conductor of energy. And the beauty of energy is it knows no distance and time. It's not limited to anything. So this is where, again, we're locked into tablets or remedies and stuff. We're not actually, if we believe, okay? So by using the energy, it's like Emoto. If you haven't read his work, same deal. You know, Professor Emoto, who's written all the water books, get onto them, because he did the same with using the words underwater. And that word, it's your intention. Everything stems from your intention. If you are really putting the intention out from love, it's active. So by putting that water, you're placing the intention, simply the word, which then you've got the intention of the word and what that means to you. It's just going in as energy into the water. The water holds that vibration of memory, and then you can drink it. You know, you can do it with anywhere. You can send your thoughts of, as Martine said, you can send anywhere. Again, it's about the receptivity of the person receiving. Again, if they are willing and they are believing in you, energy is absolutely active between all parties. You know, we don't need, this is where we're stepping out of the physical. Same from the body. We're stepping away. Energy is energy. We're not contained by anything when we understand the work of energy and what its capacity is. This is the beauty of it, you know, so we're just moving out of our old thinking patterns about that, you know, but we have to make movement towards that. We can't remain with old patterns of belief and then think we can do that, because you still align to this far more than you believe that, so you'll still be creating at this level. Yep. That's the truth. So to get to that truth, you must be moving away from it into more faith and trust until you land at 51% and more to say, I know this works. Yep. This works for me. That's all that matters. It doesn't matter that somebody else believes you. It doesn't matter. It's you have to believe in it, you know. And I've just been doing a new website, and today I just put in there, you know, why do you want to work with me type thing. And in there I've literally written today, you know, if you come with an open, willing heart and you're willing to take that step forward and you're willing to discover things that you might not have looked at, and there's alternative ways of thinking and being, this is the place for you. But if you're looking to me to fix you, heal you, sort you, do whatever, I'm not your person. And I just put that openly in the website, because that's the truth. I'm not going to play a game with people. I'm not going to have them in for money. That's not who I am. I'm here to work with you as your support and guide, but I'm handing everyone back their power. You know, that's all a true healer is here to do, not to be anybody in any capacity for that person, but to be the supportive mechanism to show that being, you've got it, let's do it. You find your way to do it. I'm just going to throw you some ideas. You know, I'm going to aim to connect you to your higher self as best as I can, as the clearest vessel that I can be, until you're ready to go it. Yeah. That's my truth.
And I called Marie the gold standard of friendships. And my foundation is
oh God.
I called it the gold standard because, again, in my 11 years of knowing Marie, she's never once let me get away with playing a story with her. Not once. And so, you know, there's been plenty of times that this is my phone, by the way. There's been plenty of times I've been like, and then I'll get off the phone and I'll be like, you know what? Like, seriously, what the no Marie, like, fine, well, it's okay for you to say that. And then like a day later I'm like, oh, she's so right, like. And I'm blessed and thankful that she's never let me get away with anything, because why would I want that? Why would I want someone to I can't even give you an example right now because there's not an example to give. But that to me is my gold standard in friendship, and that is you know, where I set as my baseline.
Wow.
Not from a judgmental perspective, but from a, okay, so this person's asking this of me. What do I need to do here? Am I playing game back? You know, what feels right? What doesn't feel right? And, you know, that's how I feel most in that moment to respond.
Yeah. And, you know, it's all done with compassion and love. And that's the thing. And that's the difference. There's no agenda from me and whoever works with me. It's just, and there's many times too that there are moments I know it's not time to speak. My goddess is saying no. And, you know, again, in that moment, it's not withholding the information. It's just knowing that the consciousness before me is not ready to absorb this. And I could talk till I'm black and blue for what? That's my ego. That's my need to be heard. You know, the real goddess knows when to speak and when not to speak. That's the listening again of going, you know what? I'll just allow you to be, because in that allowance, you'll find your feet. And if not, so be it. You know, if you come back to me, you do. And if you don't, you don't. That's the trust I have in spirit. You know, to this date, I've never advertised myself ever. And I'm just, it's been word of mouth, and I just sit here and I do. And I know that whoever comes is meant to be, and who doesn't, and that's okay.
Yep.
You know, that hasn't changed. And the whole time I still keep working on me.
Yep. But I think it's time for you to get one of those books out, Marie.
Yeah, maybe. I got to get this website out first. That is a priority. I can feel momentum building this year. So yeah, there's shifts that for me to step up again. I know that we've all got to step up, but we're all doing it on a different way. But yeah, it's this year. I know that. Thank you.
It's only because I've just started one too. I'm like, Marie really needs to get hers out too.
Yeah. Well,
anyway,
that's it. Probably enough from us today.
Yep.
We'll back it up. We backed it up quickly. So hopefully, I think we'll just finish with this because it was interesting. We've just said, like, the last upload of episode 19, oh my gosh, you know, again, that physicality of how things are mirroring you. And Martine sort of raised it with what she's been going through this week with her car and tires and a flat battery. Well, for me, it was this phone, and it was all uploading of the last episode. Everywhere I looked, I was getting the message. It was being blocked and blocked and blocked. This episode would not go up. And I was getting so frustrated. So I had to work with that, recognize that, and sit there and go, okay, pull out of this. What's the bigger teaching? And the message that clearly came through and smacked me in the face back to look at myself was, I kept hearing back from the phone, delete files, not enough storage space, delete files, not enough storage space, buy more storage space, buy more storage. And everything, I was deleting. And then I realized, what am I deleting? I'm deleting out of the need to get this done and sorted. And I could see that variance of like any fear there. That wasn't fear, but it was, you know, subtle vibration of it. Oh, got to. Threw that away and went, okay, no. What have you got to delete here? What's this whole thing about? What's this big mirror back to you? And it was like, well, incoming energies, you're uploading, you're ready for something else, obviously. So what do you need to get rid of that you've not looked at? And I haven't told you this, but this is going to sound ridiculous. But I said it to my client this morning. The thing of all places that I received this deletion of stuff and energies and old things I didn't even know I was sitting on was through a maths episode last night. Married at First Sight. Married at First Sight episode.
Oh, maths. I'm like, what are you talking about?
Yeah, maths. Sorry, I'm in the lingo.
Yeah.
So of all years, like my daughter, you know, we wanted to watch it, and you know, I enjoy it from a sociological perspective. I love watching the dynamics of the thoughts, and we talk about that. My daughter and I, we talk about what this stuff is and the baggage and the energies, and that's how we're watching it. But funnily enough, this year, my husband wants to watch. He's joined in. He's actually the one going, "Oh, maths is on," and we're going like, "What?" But we sat down last night, and it tricked me in the moment, not triggered, but got my attention in the moment. And then overnight, next layer came through. So through last night, there's these two particular characters, and you know, they're sort of the bad boys, so to speak. But things that these people were talking about them and their traits, all the stuff that was coming up, I started to see in my old 30 years ago of going out, you know, when I first was going out with him in early marriage, and in a very different reality, because I was in a powerless game then. I started to see similarities of this person beside me, and I was going, oh, well, he did that. Oh, I could do that. Oh, I reckon. And I was starting to get this little tick list, and I thought, wow, okay. And I wasn't putting it together then at the time, but going, wow, okay. Went to bed, as I said, woke up through the night and went, bing, oh my God. Thank you, maths. Okay, let's pull out of the judgment. Because what it showed me was, here are timelines again. Here are storylines. Here are thoughts and vibrations that this raised for me simply to the surface that I didn't know was still sitting there in this little vibration, still influencing somewhere, that I then could consciously go, oh, you've brought this to my attention for the deletion. So I was deleting, tick, 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 bang. And I can see how already, like for a few weeks now, we've been really shifting the dynamics again of our relationship into a very nicer, greater beingness together. I can feel it. I put my intentions out, that's where I'm heading, and the game's shifting. But for that to take place at another vibratory level, I had to let go of what was still part of my story that hadn't quite been shifted right out, transmuted and let go, that was still there. But here, this bloody show brought to my attention that then I could go, done. I mean, that's how ridiculously simple it can be. It's not always like, oh, in these glorious healing moments do we get the stuff. It's in the most simplistic moments you get some of the greatest wisdoms. That's being that alert and being prepared to listen and actioning it.
And like
I
Marie
haven't
said,
needed to say a thing to him.
and like Marie said, not judging the vessel that you're receiving that in, not judging, you know, like, again, remember, like, technology and things like that are people, are things that people judge, you know, but if you feel so compelled to sit down and you feel so compelled to watch something, go for it, because you don't know what's going on.
Why? This is highest good again at work, you know. God is in everything. Literally everything. The darkest thing you're perceiving out in the world right now, God is a part of that. Don't think it's the devil and God. We are all part of everything. We are the collective. We are the souls that have created this game. So everything we're experiencing and witnessing beyond us, however you perceive that, we are all a part of it. And only ever are the people and the game always the grand mirror back unto us. So all the darkness of the world is merely the highest aspects of ourselves saying, can everybody have a look at their darkness within now? If we keep projecting out and we keep pointing out, you're not going within. You're just adding to the game. Please know this. This is so important where you're putting your energies. Even if you think you're awake, you're spiritual, you're doing this stuff, and that's good and that's bad, you're in duality of contrasts. You're in that whole us and them stuff. This is about reunification now. And so again, that whole mirror, everything, no matter what, is about you. Always about you and what that means for you. And if you're being triggered by anything outside, you must look within to see where that's out of balance within you and what that trait that's on offer is potentially offering you.
So let's go. Hey, Marie, how you going, my team? So what do we talk about today? I don't know. Pretty sure we know.
We're done. We can always talk about something.
Yeah, and I reckon we could have talked about that for a lot longer. Like, there's just so many things rolling, but let's cut it there.
Yeah.
Because you probably will need to delete some other things in your life to upload it.
Absolutely. So yeah, judge nothing. That's the key. Judge nothing. Takeaway today, no judgment.
No judgment. If you catch yourself judging, what do? Observe yourself and what that's raising in you.
Yeah. Yeah. You can do it. You got this. You came for it. Whatever you got, you created it. You can do it. You're up for it.
So you might get these episodes a bit back to back, but I'm sure you're up for it.
Yep. You listen when you're ready.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we'll see you when we see you next time. We don't know when we're
Okay.
doing the next one. Yeah.
We have to get our dates in alignment.
Yeah, we have to get next week. We've got the week after in alignment. We've just got to get next week in alignment.
It'll work. Yeah.
All right. Well,
have a good day.
See you later.
Okay. Take care.
Bye.
Much love. Bye.